Would you buy from you? I want you to really be careful before you answer that. Because your sales may not have collapsed because your product is bad, because your offer is bad, because your service is bad. Your sales may have collapsed because your questions are. You're asking people to buy before you've explored what they actually need. You're pitching before you're diagnosing. You're prescribing before you understand the pain. And that's why they're ghosting you right now. Let's pause there. That's why your sales have dropped. That's why everything feels like crickets right now. It's not because your customers and clients are broke. It's not because they're tire kickers. It's not because people just don't buy anymore. It's because they never felt like you understand what they actually needed. So let me ask you again, would you buy from you? Would you buy from the way that you follow up? Would you buy from the way that you ask questions? Would you buy from the way that you rush into your offer? Would you buy from someone who talks more about the solution than the problem? I mean, let's face it, right? When you really think about sales, is this about them or is it about you? Let's pause there, because it's not the quantity of your leads. It's the quality of your questions. You don't need more leads. You need better questions. And in this video, I'm going to actually go over exactly why your sales are collapsing, why more leads are not going to fix it, and how to create a real client opportunity in the next 24 hours by asking only 6 questions. Are you ready for that? If you are, tune into this video. And a lot of videos I've been making lately have been about an hour long. I'm going to crunch this thing down to about 10, 15 minutes because I want to get straight into the value. I want to get straight into, I've been checking my data on these videos lately, and people want me to get right into it. So I'm going to do that. We're going to get right into it. You're going to get a ton of value. This is the Perspective Pause. You don't need a new lead. You need a new lens. You don't need a new life. You don't need anything else except for a new perspective on how you're actually looking at your current situation. And in this video, we're going to do that, and we're going to get to it. If this is the first time watching this, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And the only thing I ask is if you get any value from this, to share this video with somebody, because the person that really needs to see this may not unless you do. So, why pitching too early kills trust? Let's say that, right? Why pitching too early? Why voicing recommendations? Why going straight into the offer too early is killing everything? And let's kind of use this example, right? You go into a doctor's office, right? You go into a doctor's office, and before you say one word, the doctor starts writing prescriptions. Like, here's antibiotics, here's blood pressure medicine, here's physical therapy. You'd say, Doc, you didn't even ask me what was wrong. You didn't ask me where my pain points were. You didn't ask me what my big concerns were. You didn't ask. I'm not going to get into the questions that you're going to learn through this video, but I'm just going to say that you would probably look at the doctor and be like, bro, you don't even know what's wrong with me. You're just giving me what you want me to have. And the doctor then says, trust me, I've seen this before. Have you ever done that? You ever been to the doctor's office, and before you even tell the doctor what's going on in your life or what's going wrong in your life, the doctor just prescribes some medication, and you're like, what's going on here? And the doctor says, trust me, I've done this a million times. Yeah, you'd probably not go back to that doctor. You probably wouldn't. And that's exactly what your prospects are doing right now. That's exactly what the people that are sitting across the kitchen table from you are doing right now. That's exactly what's happening when you do a webinar, when you do a seminar, when it's one-on-one, wherever it is, right? If you're in a customer's home and you're sitting there looking at them, that's exactly what they're thinking when you go right into selling something without exploring someone's needs. And because when you pitch before you explore needs, you're prescribing before you're diagnosing. So you're trying to sell the medicine before you understand the sickness. You're prescribing solutions before diagnosing the problem. We can pause there. And that's not sales, y'all. That's guessing with confidence. So I've been in sales, leadership, coaching, and as someone who has had, I mean, I don't want to talk about me, but I mean, why would you listen to me, right? Well, I've received awards in leadership trainings. I've been able to have clients that not only make millions of dollars in a year, a month, a week, but I have clients that have made $1 million in a day. I've been able to go into different corporations and find out exactly what the biggest issue in communication in their people in different areas, and seeing that it all stems from their relational building, right? Like the questions that you're asking, not only the prospects externally, but the questions that you're asking internally with the people that are working for you make a big difference, right? So anyway, I'm not going to get into me or what I've accomplished, but just know something, right? We've been able to turn corporations that really couldn't see what the issue was and pouring money into leads. And realizing that you don't need more leads. You just really need a better system. You need a better process, and you just need to be asking better questions. You need to show people that you care about them. I mean, people are going to believe what you do for them once you show them that you care about them, right? And so through all the things that I've done, I've seen this becoming more and more now a larger issue, especially with AI, right? Because a lot of people now will go to Claude or ChatGPT or Manus and they'll say, hey, give me the questions or create a fact finder or create this or create that. Now, they're just giving you a list of things to say, but you haven't become the person to even understand why it's important. And if you don't know why something's important, then you're never really going to be successful with what it is that you're doing, even if you're doing something. Now, don't get me wrong, principles work. What goes up must come down. But just know something. If you're not doing the right thing consistently, I have a friend of mine that tells me all the time, consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. You got to be more consistent. But he's consistently doing the wrong thing. And he uses that as an excuse to keep doing the wrong thing. And it's like, if you keep doing more of the thing that's not working, things aren't going to automatically start working. You're just going to continue to do things that aren't working, and it's not going to work. So consistency may be the key, but if you're consistently doing the wrong thing, then that key is not going to unlock anything. And most of the issues that we've seen with people, it's not the price, it's not the market, it's not even the lead quality. It's the questions, it's the systems, it's that people are trying to close people before they even took time to understand what someone needs. And it's interesting because that's so transactional. That's so transactional. And then we're transactional, our closing rates are low, and we think that it's the people that are the problem when we need to take accountability as leaders and understand that you don't need more clients, you just need a new lens. You need to look at the way on how you talk to your clients. Because when people feel like you're trying to close them before you understand them, they protect themselves. I would want to protect, people from you if you're somebody that's wanting to just sell things to people for the sake of the transaction instead of becoming the transportation to somebody's transformation. Come on now. So this is how your sales collapse. Let's get into it, right? They don't collapse all at once. It's not overnight, but it's like one shallow conversation at a time. They're not deep conversations. They're very shallow. It's like a lead comes in, you get super excited, then you think somebody's interested, then you start explaining everything. We do this, we offer that. This package comes with this. Here's all the pieces of the program. Our company's been doing this for years. We have the best service. Here's the awards we've won. Here's the recognition we have. We have the best price. We have the best product. And the whole time the prospect is thinking, you don't even know what I need. That's the problem. You've been explaining the features of what it is that you do, but you never explored the frustration. You talked about the offer, but you never uncovered the real obstacle that somebody's facing. And you asked if they wanted to move forward, right, with whatever it is that you're offering, but you never ask what happens if they stay where they are. You're talking yourself out of the sale. Because when you talk more than you explore, come on now. It's not intentional, but I'm just saying, when you talk more than you explore, you make the prospect carry the burden of connecting you to their problem or connecting your offer to their problem. And most people won't do that. Like, they'll just say, let me think about it, right? They're not going to move forward if they don't understand the connection on why it is that, or what problem that you're actually solving. They'll just say, let me think about it, right? They'll just say, send me some more information. I'll get back to you. And then they disappear. Or then you just start watching all of these videos and books about overcoming objections. So now your life is turned into, I'm going to sell a feature. They're going to object, and I'm going to try to overcome the objection. And sometimes you win that objection war, per se, right? And they end up buying what it is that you offered. Is that a win? No, it's not. It's not a win if you sell something to someone and they don't understand how it's going to help them, but they only bought it because you pressured them and backed them into a corner to where they couldn't say no anymore. That's what most of these sales trainers are teaching people. They're teaching people how to overcome objections for something that they never tied the need to the product for. So now you have all these people saying, hey, when they say they want to think about it, say, well, right now is the greatest time to think about it because I have all the information in front of us. So let's think about it together. What's exactly on your mind? Or, if somebody says, hey, I got to talk to my wife. Okay, well, when you talk to your wife, what do you think that would be some of her concerns? Let's address some of those right now. Oh. So if you try to overcome all the objections in a situation where somebody feels like they're backed in a corner, yeah, they may buy it, but they may call you tomorrow and cancel it. They may call you and have some type of buyer's remorse and say, you know what? I don't think this is for me. So now what are you doing? You're wasting your time and you're frustrating them. And now your reputation looks like trash. So let's really talk about the real reframe, right? We need to replace more leads with better exploration. We need to explore more needs. I would say it's not more leads, it's more needs. Why are we selling what we're selling? This is the new lens, right? You may need better conversations with the leads that you already have. You may not need a better pitch. You may just need better questions. So let's kind of like get into that, right? Because you have to be honest enough to look at the situation too. Because if you, like you would tell a customer, right? Hey, if you keep doing this, this is going to happen in your life, right? Well, let me ask you, if you keep doing this, what's going to happen in your business? Because if you don't ask the hard question, the prospect is still going to answer it. They're just going to do it privately. They're going to think about the price privately. They're going to think about the risk privately. They're going to think about whether they trust you privately. They're going to think about staying the same privately. And then they're going to ghost you publicly. So your job is not to pressure them. Your job is to help them process the truth out loud. And again, let me give you some research, right, that goes with this, because I don't like to just go ahead and just act as if this is facts without some research. This isn't just my opinion. And studying thousands of sales calls, there was one of the biggest takeaways that top sales conversations are not dominated by the salesperson talking the whole time. The best conversations create room for the buyer to talk. And that matters because when they talk, they reveal what they actually want and what they actually care about, not what you assume they care about. And that lines up with spin selling. There was a gentleman by the name of Neil Rackman. In his research, they looked at thousands and thousands of sales calls, and the whole framework was built around asking better questions. Situation questions, problem questions, implication questions, need payoff questions. In other words, like, you didn't just sell the product, you explored the needs. You found out where the biggest issue was, the feeling that the person had because of the problem, what was going to happen in their life as a result of keeping the problem. And then they started realizing that what you had for them was going to fix their situation, and they can clearly see that. Right? Because someone says, here's what I sell. I offer this. Like, even when somebody meets you anymore, right? What do? They say, hey, what do you do? Well, I help people accomplish this goal in this amount of time, right? But is that really what people want to hear? When people ask me, what do? I just ask them straight up. Like, I solve problems. I serve. I help people. What's going on? Tell me a little bit about the concerns and problems you may have. Because I want to find out, I don't want to sell something to somebody that doesn't I don't want to sell something to someone that doesn't truly need or is going to take action with what it is that I'm actually going to sell also. Because now I'm just going to look bad. You know, I have a coach that I know, he's a high ticket sales coach, right? And he'll sell anything to anybody. Anything to anybody. If you say you got $10,000, he's going to take you on as a client, regardless of whether you're qualified to even do the work or not. It's almost like saying, I'm going to sell roller skates to somebody that has no legs. But if they want the roller skates, I'm going to go ahead and sell them. I'm going to sell a carpet to a little old lady or not carpet, I'm sorry. I'm going to sell a vacuum to a little old lady that has no carpet in her home just because she wants to pay for it. I mean, that's what you see right now with this unethical leadership and sales just world that we're in, especially in the online space. A lot of people are just going ahead and selling anything to anybody because it's a transaction. It's unethical. I mean, think about it, what it says in the Bible, right? I mean, Proverbs 18:15, I believe. Yeah, Proverbs 18:15 says, the heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out. The ears of the wise, not the mouth of the desperate, not the pitch or the offer of the pressured. The ears of the wise. That means wisdom listens before it speaks. What was it? James 1:19. James 1:19 says, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak. Think about that. That's in the Bible. Like, everybody should be quick to listen and slow to speak. Because if you're quick to speak, you're selling from assumption. But if you're quick to listen, you'll serve from understanding. And when people feel understood, that trust goes up. And when trust goes up, resistance comes down. And when the resistance comes down, the conversation can finally move forward. Come on now. So let me give you the 6 questions that you need, right? This video is a little bit longer than I expected. I apologize. I always run out of time before I run out of value. But let me get into the 6 questions right now that you can ask any prospects that you currently have. And it's going to allow you to explore needs so well that the person's going to understand that you're actually thinking about what's best for them. You're going to be able to convert them into the solution for their life. And you're going to get a client within the next 24 hours if you do this. So let me give you these questions, right? Question number 1. What made you reach out? What made you reach out? Now, it's super simple. But we can't skip it, because sometimes you think you know why they're here. You know why they showed up, but you don't. Like, let me tell you, the first answer that they give you is usually the surface problem. It is. It's just, but it gives you the reason why something triggered them to finally take action. And that's a doorway. It's a doorway, right? So when you ask them what made you reach out, or you can even reframe it by saying, what caused you to show up today? Well, that answer, it's not the destination. And that's the problem what people have. They think that it's the destination. It's the root problem. It's not. It's a doorway to the destination. Because then you have to ask them what's their biggest concern right now. And when I say this, I want you to really think about this, right? Because I mean, I've been coached to the max when it comes to sales by some of the greatest sales trainers in the world. And I've been able to apply that in many different scenarios, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's sitting in somebody's home at a kitchen table, whether it's one-to-many sales online, virtual, whether it's in a seminar, whether it's at a dinner seminar. I've been able to use these in thousands of scenarios to see what really works. And most sales trainers are going to say you have to ask somebody, what's your biggest problem right now? But I'm here to tell you that's not a good question. And the reason why is because some people don't have any problems. What are you talking about, Chesko? People don't have problems. Everybody got problems. No, understand something. Some of the wealthiest clients that I've ever had, they don't really have problems, but they have concerns. There's something that's concerning them. So you don't want to block somebody in by saying, hey, what's the biggest problem that you have? Now, granted, some people do have problems, and you're going to find out, what caused them to show up today. by asking the first question, but by asking this question, what's your biggest concern right now? This question is going to get to the real issue, because people don't usually buy because something's just interesting. They buy because it's important. And what's concerning them is going to show you what's most important. People don't buy what sounds impressive. They buy what feels important. So why is it important, right? Question number 3, what do you like or dislike about what you're currently doing? This is my favorite question that I ask with anybody, because it allows you to find out exactly what they've currently done to solve the problem also. What happened when they tried to solve the problem before? Maybe somebody that they worked with in the past that they do like. I mean, this question is probably the most important question on the whole list to me, because it allows you to not only see what somebody dislikes about what they're currently doing, but it also shows you what they do like. Because there are people that are working with somebody, or they do have a product in their life that isn't all bad. And there are some things that they enjoy or like about what they currently have. And if you don't pay attention and listen to what they do like, you may change too much. You may overcorrect. You may say, hey, well, this product's going to be better because it's going to do this and this and this and this and this. Well, it doesn't matter what it's going to do as far as a feature goes. It matters what's the benefit to them. So some people will like to keep certain things. I remember in the optical field, right? When I was working as a district manager at VisionWorks, right? VisionWorks, the optical retailer. I was actually in training to kind of roll out the sales program. And what we noticed was that a lot of the people, when they said, hey, I like this about my glasses, they wanted to keep something about their glasses, right? They may have said, hey, I like plastic frames more than I like metal frames because I don't like nose pads digging into my nose, right? So when you ask them, what do you like or dislike about your current pair of glasses, you're going to make sure that you don't give them something that they may have forgotten why they liked it or disliked it. So what I mean by that, this is really important. I want you to catch this, because you want to drill down on this also. I probably don't have enough time to talk about drill down questions and so forth, but you want to drill down, because when you ask somebody, what do you like or dislike about what you're currently doing or what you currently have, they're going to tell you. They're going to be like, well, I like plastic frames. But you have to drill down and say, well, why do you like plastic frames? Because if you just hear they like plastic frames, you don't know the reason why. You could be selling everything from a life insurance policy to a handgun, right? And if you don't find out what they liked and what they had before, you may sell them something that you were just focused on what they didn't like, and then now you gave them something else that they don't like now. Anyway, hopefully that adds some value, but it's really huge, because it's kind of like when people say, sell me this pen, right? When they say, sell me this pen, you have to think to yourself, well, what do you like or dislike about the pen that you currently have? Well, if somebody says, well, I don't have a pen. I say, oh, okay, well, how does that make you feel? Well, it doesn't make me feel too good. Well, what scenarios do you need a pen in? Well, I need a pen to do this and this and this. So what are you using now? Nothing. Okay. And you can keep going and going and going and going and going and letting them decide what's best for them by asking them, hey, well, if you had a pen, how would you feel? I'd feel great. What would you do if you had a pen? I'd do this. So what do you think you should do? And they'll say, I should buy a pen. But I mean, it's that simple. But you have to start with, what do you like or dislike about what you're currently doing or what you currently have? And I love this question, because it doesn't attack what they're doing now. It doesn't. It just lets them evaluate it. And it lets them reassure themselves of the benefit of why they currently have what they have. Why do you like it? Why do you dislike it? What's working? What's frustrating? What could you change if you could? Anyway, let's keep going. Question 4, what happens if you keep doing things the same way? You know, there was a quote that I heard once before, and I love it so much, and it said, don't fear failure, fear being in the same place this time next year. So good, so good. Because we think about when people ask us questions like, well, how much does this cost? Well, you have a cost and you also have a price, right? The price is that you pay for the solution. The cost is what it's going to be if you keep doing things the same way. And you have to ask yourself, what costs more, the solution or to keep the problem? This is the question where most people skip, because it feels super uncomfortable. Because you're digging deep into what's actually going to happen if they don't move forward. But this may be the most important question on this list. I'm going to say this about all of them because they're all important, and they're all questions that most people aren't asking. Or if they do, they only ask them every once in a while. I'm giving you these 6 questions so you can use them every single time, and I guarantee your conversion rates will go up. Isn't that a good thing? Apply it. What happens if you keep doing things the same way? You're not trying to scare them by doing this. You're helping them be honest with themselves. There's a big difference there. And when they say what that cost is out loud, they own it. You want people to self-discover. And the pain that they admit will always be stronger than the pain that you explain. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Question 5. What would it feel like if it was finally fixed? Now you're moving on from the pain to possibility, or I should say the payoff, right? We don't want to sell the pieces. We want to sell the payoff. We don't want to sell the features. We want to sell the benefit. We don't want to sell just the pain. We want to sell the possibility. So what would it feel like if this was finally fixed? And let them describe it. This is where you got to shut up. Don't say, well, what would it feel like this? Or would you have this? Or would you have more time? Would you have more peace? Would you have confidence? Would you have this? Would you have that? No, listen, what would it feel like if it was finally fixed? And shut up. Let them describe it. The only thing that you should be saying when you're doing like need-based selling and exploring needs like this is, what else? Tell me more. Get them to keep talking. Let them describe it. Let them talk about it. Hey, it's gonna create less stress. I'm gonna be, my business is gonna grow. I'm gonna have more time. I have more peace, more confidence, more cash flow, a stronger team, whatever it is, right? People don't buy the thing. They buy the feeling that they believe that the thing will create. You hear people all the time say, like, people don't buy the hammer. They buy the picture on the wall, that the hammer will be able to put the nail in the wall and the picture's on the wall. Well, I like to take it a step further, and I'll make another video on this. I have a framework for this, but people don't buy the hammer. They also don't buy the picture on the wall. They buy the feeling that the picture on the wall will create. When you look up, how do you feel? Man, it's going to be nice when I look up and I see that picture of me and my kids. That's why I bought it. So here's the last question. Right? What would your life or business look like if this changed for the good? This is where the conversation goes a little deeper. Not just, do you want this service, but what changes if this problem no longer controls you? Now, they're not just thinking about buying, they're thinking about the transformation. So here it is, right? When you ask better questions, they're going to self-examine. When they self-examine, they self-discover. And when they self-discover, they self-close. You're not supposed to be selling anything. You're just supposed to guide them into selling themselves. That's exploring needs. That's the real way of voicing recommendations. And that's real sales, because that's real service. I saw this clearly when I was at, I already kind of told the story, but I'll just say that I've seen many people that will say that what they're doing is actually good enough. But let me ask you a real question. If you could be better, would you? If you could be better, would you? Why would you not want to be better? But here's the thing, right? I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this one time only, is that all of this information that I'm giving you right now, it's not this information. It's not what you don't know that holds you back. It's what you do know that you hold on to that's not a fact. And the limitations that what you're doing is already good enough is what's keeping you from getting to the next level. So in the title of this video, I said, if you ask these 6 questions, you'll get a customer in the next 24 hours. Let me teach you how to do that really fast, right? So I make sure that I'm giving you exactly what I promised you. I don't want to overcomplicate this. I don't want you to build a new funnel. I don't want you to redesign your website. I don't want you to blame the algorithm. I don't want you to go, none of that, right? I want you to go back to the people already that's in your world and start better conversations. A person that's already bought from you or already worked with you or already has met with you trusts you enough to have another conversation. So I want you to make a list of 50 people. Old leads, past clients, people who asked for information, people who downloaded your lead magnet, people maybe who ghosted you in the past, people who said they needed more information. They said they needed to think about it. And maybe these people already got a solution somewhere else. But you can also ask them what was the thing that caused them to go to somebody else, which will give you more information about yourself. But go to those people. Go to that list, and don't judge the list. Just build it. Because you're showing up with a new plan now. Because you're going to ask these 6 questions. Because your next client may not be hiding in a new ad campaign. They may already be sitting in your phone. And reach out with a question. Hey, you ready to buy? No, I'm kidding. Don't say that. Say, hey, I'm just checking in. No, don't say that. say, I just wanted to circle back. No, don't say that. All right, fine. I'm messing with you now. You need to say something like, hey, I was just thinking about our last conversation. Are you still trying to solve that problem? Or did you already get that handled? Just be direct. That reopens the conversation without making it weird. You don't be like, hey, I was just checking in with you and wanted to see how things are going. They're like, bro, come on. Last conversation we had, you tried to sell me something. Now you're just telling me you want to circle back. No, get to the point. Say, I was thinking about our last conversation, and are you still trying to solve that problem? That's going to reopen the conversation. It's not going to make it look like you're chasing anybody, because you're not. You still want to qualify them through the information they're going to give you. You're going to find out more about them and see if you even like them enough to want to take them on as a client also. And when they respond, don't pitch immediately. Go back to those 6 questions. Like, don't get excited when they're like, yeah, I was thinking about it. Let's move forward. Don't do none of that. Don't move forward with somebody that just wants to move forward until you actually answer these questions. Now, there's a gray area, right? Because you don't want to overtalk. If somebody's like, here's my money, that's going to be up to you to find out whether you just want to take somebody's money or you want to take them to a transformation. But there's some people that will hand you their money that you can't take anywhere because they're not qualified to actually do the work yet. You know, one of my mentors used to always tell me, you have to have the mindset, and you have to have the skill set, and you have to have the tool set. But there's something that recently I thought about from coaching thousands of entrepreneurs and business owners. It's not only those 3 things that you need to be successful. There's one more. It's mindset, tool set, skill set, but also will set. Will set. There's 4 things that you need. Because if you don't have the will, what does it matter? If you're not willing to do the work, then no matter what you do, you could sell people things all day long. But if they don't get a result from it, then you look bad. And do you want to look bad? When you could have actually just looked out for everybody and asked better questions. So, and then also a lot of you are going to try to skip this process. I'll give this to you as a little bonus here. A lot of you are going to skip the process and say, let me get my sales team to do that. Let me find out how I can get AI to do that. That's going to be the biggest problem you could possibly do right now. Because you need to become the person that becomes a leader that can lead other people to do exactly what it is that you can do also. Now, granted, I know that we need to, find a who in our life. Dr. Benjamin Hardy wrote a book called Who Not How, and we don't need to figure out how to do something. We need to find out who can do it for us. That's very important. But you have to understand something. You must demonstrate before you delegate. Don't hand this to your team first. Don't automate it first. Don't ask AI to do it all first. You do it first. Demonstrate before you delegate. Then delegate what works, automate what repeats, then elevate the business. That's my D-Day framework. And today is D-Day, by the way. But we have to demonstrate, delegate, automate, elevate in that order. If you jump out of that order, like 90% of business owners, you're going to see the same thing like you see with 90% of business owners. They all fail in 10 years. Pretty much just about every single business owner will fail in 10 years because they think that they know something that's going to work. That's not a principle, but it's just their opinion. Good luck with that. So all I'll say is this. I'm going to close with this, right? How long was this video? 35 minutes. Holy cow. I wanted it to be 15. Wow. Well, the rest of my videos have all been about an hour long. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and just subscribe to the channel. I go live every single Wednesday. I'm helping people with business, with leadership, with their mindset, and really just wanting to help people see that they don't need a new life. They just need a new lens. Right? And so if your sales collapsed, let's not blame the market. Let's not blame the leads. Let's not blame the algorithm. Let's take accountability. Let's take ownership and ask ourselves the harder question. Would you buy from you? Would you buy from you the way that you explore needs? Would you buy from you the way that you ask questions? Would you buy from you the way you listen? Would you buy from you the way that you recommend? Because your prospects don't need you to talk more. They need you to listen and understand more. The reasons why your sales are collapsing right now are because you stopped exploring needs. Your offer isn't bad. Your leads aren't bad. Your product isn't bad. Your service isn't bad. The market isn't dead, but because your conversations are way too shallow, you're trying to close before you clarify. You're trying to pitch before you probe. You're trying to sell before they feel seen and heard and understood. It's not the people you meet. It's the questions you ask. If you ask better questions, you'll get better conversations. You'll create better clients. Take this information, apply it immediately in your life right now, and you'll get a new client within the next 24 hours. And it'll probably be one of the best clients that you've ever had because there'll be clarity on both sides. Again, you don't need a new lead. You need a new lens. Adjust your focus and you're going to adjust everything else. I pray you guys are blessed by this information. Continue to take ownership, take action, and eventually you're going to take off. Share this video with somebody today. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.